Give you a little background on this project, why I'm doing it. The driveway, I have two driveways. This is the driveway up by the house. It's all concrete. And when I plow this, all I have to do is just drop my blade right on the concrete and scrape it off. So that works great. I've got another driveway though down by the pole barn, and it's not concrete. The second driveway is gravel. And when I drop that same blade on this time of year is not quite so bad. I've got a little bit of a base going. But before it's really frozen hard, what happens is those feet that I have on my plow, I'll put those feet on there so that it lifts the blade just a little bit above the surface. But when it's not frozen, those feet still kind of dig underneath the gravel and just push it up in piles. So I need to do something to solve that. Now, I had the same problem when I used to use a snowblower on the front of my lawn tractor. And the way I solved that problem a couple of years ago is the same way. I took a couple of wheels, welded a little axle onto each of the pads and put wheels on it, and it worked really well. So I thought I'd do the same thing for my snowplow. This is a standard foot that goes on a snowplow. And you see it's kind of dished out, and it's really intended just to ride along the surface and keep the blade up off so it doesn't dig in. So now here are my materials that I'm going to use to make a caster to replace this. I've got a plate. This is actually a plate that of some metal that I kept from an old lawn tractor frame, and it's got a really nice bushing in there that'll kind of help support this. So what we've got on the original foot is a shaft that drops into a couple of fittings. So what I'm going to do with this is weld in a 5/8 shaft on this. And once I've done that, we'll weld this caster in, and we'll have a caster now that can run and hopefully roll on the snow instead of digging in. Now we drill holes for the retaining pins. Now I just have to nip off the corners on this so it swivels nice. And still haven't completely moved into the pole barn, haven't got my workbench set up, so I'm going to have to use my portable vise. We'll just finish cleaning those up a bit. So that's the finished product. So what we've got is just a metal plate with a swivel wheel and a shaft to mount that onto the blade. And so what will happen is that these will just ride along the snow and shouldn't dig in. It's really my first attempt, and we'll give it a try and see how these work. Hopefully they'll hold up. So this is how these mount. We've got a little retainer and a washer. We just slide that out. Drop the new one in. This time the retainer and the washer go on the bottom, since the force on this will be pushing up from the bottom. And that's it. As I drive forward, that should freely follow the plow. We'll see how it goes. So I noticed right away, first time I started going forward, the plow just dug in and tipped. So what I'm seeing here is that looks like the old center of gravity was directly underneath that bracket that holds those feet, and the new center of gravity is moved back about 5 inches to where the wheels are. So I think that's what's causing the problem. So I don't know exactly how we're going to solve this. I got a couple ideas. The first one is to tighten up these springs, because I've noticed that, you know, this blade tilts forward very easily. So I'm going to start by tightening up those springs. Let's see what it does. Alright, so that wasn't it. You can see it's still dug in. So the other possible solution to this is to bring this nose up just a little bit. I've got probably a 1/2 inch if I was to grind some of that weld off that this caster will drop. I'll give that a try and see what happens. Alright, stay tuned for part 2. It's just too cold to be working out here. Next week it's supposed to warm up quite a bit, so what I'm going to do is try to do a couple of things. Number one, get it so that those wheels hold that blade just a little bit higher off of the snow. And secondly, I could see that at least the right side one was actually bending, so I think I need to weld some gussets on there to stiffen that up, and we'll give it another try.